Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. Welcome to my channel. Now, in my previous video, I highlighted some important comments from important Republican and Democratic senators, and they actually conducted a press conference today about their proposal, the new two-part stimulus package, if you will. I actually listened very closely to what these senators said, and it was an hour-long press conference. I heard the whole thing, and I'll provide you with a link to the entire press conference in the description section below, so I urge you to definitely check it out. I personally think that this is very encouraging, even though this doesn't give all of us what we want, because this honestly represents the two sides coming together. Let me be clear. There were a lot of kumbaya moments in this press conference, and what me and my team have done is try and identify the most important aspects of the press conference and show it to you folks here on the Ignition Time channel. But I do think you should check out the entire press conference when you get a chance, because there was a lot of encouragement, there was a lot of hope, and hopefully, as Mitt Romney said, this is what the American people want to see. We want to see our lawmakers come together, stop arguing, stop fighting, just come together. Enough of all the division. Let's come together and help those who need it the most. Now, I want to be clear, the Ignition Time channel is about the country, it's about the economy, and it's about money. For me, it doesn't matter whether you're a pro-Trump or anti-Trump, or whether you're pro-Biden or anti-Biden supporter. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that we are American first. For me, it's not about the red or the blue, it's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat, I'm not Republican, I'm American first. We are all Americans first. So let's take a look at what Bill Cassidy, who's a senator from Louisiana, said. And he I think, did an excellent job outlining the guidelines of the proposed legislation, which he encouraged leadership to take up. The guidelines from the proposed legislation about state and local funding, which is a big area of contention. In fact, President Trump has on several occasions said he doesn't want to bail out poorly run Democratic states, badly run Democratic states, blue states. So what Bill Cassidy said was, he outlined essentially how state and local funding would work, and he said states cannot use the money for pension funds, period. Very interesting. I believe we're at the finish line of a proposal that can be accepted by both sides for the time being as an emergency relief package. In fact, when Bill Cassidy is talking, you'll see on the right side of your screen, you have the larger $700+ billion bill, which is that thick stack of paper. And on the left side of your screen, you'll see the smaller stack of papers, which essentially corresponds to the $150 billion outline of the state and local aid and liability protection. Let's roll the tape and see what Bill Cassidy from Louisiana had to say.
This bill is not about sending a message, unless the message is that Congress can work together to make something good happen for the American people at a time of incredible stress. Now, my portion of the bill is in this one. This is the one in which we have state and local, which is combined with liability. And I want to credit Tom Reed and Gottheimer and Bob Menendez, because we started working on this 4 months ago, trying to find something that would recognize the difference between states, as Mitt referenced, that would be fair to all. So let me just kind of go through the state and local funding over here. There's $160 billion that will be unleashed if we can find an agreement on liability. $8 billion of that is a tribal set-aside. There is 60 so then the remainder goes to state and localities. There's a distribution formula right here. 1/3 goes out the door based upon a state's population like that. 2/3 will be based upon revenue loss. Of this 1/3, in fact, of the entirety that goes out, 1/2 goes to localities, 1/2 goes to the state. We heard a lot from localities that they thought in their state their governor did not treat them fairly. I don't know if it's true, but 40% goes out to the states and localities, which turns out to be $60.8 billion split between counties and cities and towns. And there's no minimum. You can have 4 people in your county someplace, and they can still apply if they had some need. Each state gets at least $500 million. Now, governors must choose how to distribute this 40% that goes to localities. Mitt mentioned there's a great deal of variance as to how different states are affected. A governor may choose that it goes out to localities proportional to population. He may choose that it goes out proportional to revenue loss, or some blend in between, but it has to be the same for all. It can't be, oh, this city gets a whole lot because it's based upon need, and this city gets very little because it's based upon population. It has to be the same formula. And importantly, states cannot use the money for pension funds. Period. End of story. They cannot put more into their pension fund than they did in a previous year. So we feel as if this addresses the needs for states that have lost a lot, But it's fair to states who perhaps haven't lost a lot, but nonetheless will need funding to enable the better distribution of vaccine or for needs that are yet unrealized because of the continued COVID crisis. I'll just say, again, to Gottheimer, Reed, Menendez, but to all that have been involved in this, a lot of viewpoints have gone into state and local funding. I sure hope we get to pass it, because that means also that we've come to an agreement on liability reform.
In the next segment, we'll take a look at Josh Gottheimer, who's a Democrat from New Jersey. This senator, along with Tom Reed, who's a Republican from New York, these folks work together. They are the co-chairs of the Problem Solvers Caucus, and they deserve a lot of credit for actually bringing these influential senators, these more senior senators together. And what Gottheimer said was, we must restore America's faith in government, Americans' faith in government. And he said, this is a common sense bipartisan agreement. The clock is ticking. We need to get this done before we go on break. Let's roll the tape and hear what Josh Gottheimer had to say a few hours ago.
Thank you, Senator. They say it couldn't be done, but today, as Mark said a minute ago, we rolled out a vaccine and actually got Democrats and Republicans in both chambers to come together and get a bill done. And to me, that is a Christmas miracle, as you said, Susan. I think that's the perfect way to explain it. But there's also reality that we're dealing with. 6,000 people in New Jersey yesterday were diagnosed with COVID-19 in a single day. 1 in 500 in my state have died from the disease. 30% of our small businesses have already been shuttered. Many Americans are in food lines for the very first time. Firefighters, cops, and teachers are facing pink slips at Christmas. And yet here we are, 9 months after we passed the Bipartisan CARES Act. We've been stuck in the mud on delivering relief for our families, communities, and small businesses until today. The mission of the Bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus is to help restore Americans' faith in our government and break the gridlock in Washington, the very gridlock that has prevented perhaps the one remaining thing on which all Americans agree, the need for emergency COVID relief. Something to get us through the brutal winter ahead, through the spikes every one of our states is facing, something that is a short-term, focused down payment to get us into the next administration. For the past 4 months, a tiger team of our caucus, including my Republican co-chair and great friend Tom Reed, along with Dean Phillips, who's helped lead this tiger team, who's here, Anthony Gonzalez, Abigail Spanberger, and all of us have been meeting nearly every single day. And for the last month or so, we've had this incredibly welcoming group that has invited us in to sit down on their calls every day, on their Zooms. Even on Thanksgiving, they welcomed us in to get something that we could pass both chambers and sign into law by the president. So 9 months later, we're pleased to have reached a common sense bipartisan agreement. The team effort is an example of how Congress should, can, and must act and work together, and a model for governing in a way that the country needs and deserves, not just today, but in the months ahead. But now with the clock ticking, we're here to announce the 2 separate bills and an agreement we've worked so hard to achieve. We're very proud of the values it represents and how it is consistent with what we've been fighting for months. And we're eager to find a way forward. The Problem Solvers Caucus remains eager to find a singular $908 billion comprehensive package that includes all the language and priorities that we've agreed to in the $748 billion bill, plus the $160 billion bill for state and local and tribal governments with liability and worker protections. That's our goal. Like any negotiation, there are parts we didn't get. We understand that. But going home with nothing for the American people is simply not an option. And look at what it's got. Supplemental unemployment, vaccine distribution, which is so vital now, PPP for our small businesses, a second round, food for the hungry, rental assistance, child care, and our state and local governments, all the assistance to help them, children, families, communities, small businesses, schools and teachers, hospitals and frontline workers, states, cities, and tribes, and much more, all helped by this package. To show the effort continues, this afternoon, our 50 members in the Problem Solvers Caucus, 25 Democrats and 25 Republicans, asked us to keep going tonight, to try to find a singular way forward. We voted to say, let's find a way to merge these together into a 908 package with the language we developed and worked on here, with some tweaks on liability and worker protection to get there, but to make sure that we get that state and local and tribal assistance. So everyone here worked 24/7 to make this happen. And the last thing I'll say about them, and we're just welcome to the Senate today, and I think our visa expires in about 15 minutes, so I'll just get this in. These are not often the folks that you see on television or on social media slugging it out, right? Screaming and yelling and tweeting nasty things. That's not this group. What's so impressive about the senators and Joe and Susan, who've done such an incredible job leading, is they're the ones who know how hard this year has been for our country and our neighbors, how much anger, resentment, and fear still grips our nation. And these are the leaders who recognize the country should always come ahead of party. So I just want to thank everyone who worked so hard. And on behalf of the Problem Solvers Caucus in the House, with our 908 team here, we invite our colleagues to all come together in both chambers in the spirit of unity, in the spirit of humanity, and in the spirit of America and Christmas, and pass this comprehensive emergency relief package before we go home, so that our country can begin the new year in the spirit of hope and optimism.
In the next segment, we'll look at the other co-chair of the Problem Solvers Caucus. This is Tom Reed, who's the Republican from New York. And Tom Reed said, we will not leave for Christmas break until relief is delivered to the American people. And before he got into these comments, he talked extensively about the relationships he had built with other senators. And again, if you want to see the entire press conference, we'll provide you with a link to it in the description section below. I believe that we are starting to see essentially some unity after a very, very, very difficult period for us as a country. Not just the pandemic, but also this rather bruising election. And today, the Electoral College voted to essentially certify President-elect Joe Biden. Let's take a look at what Tom Reed, who's a Republican from New York, had to say.
But as we go forward, I too echo the relief that we have come here to announce today is something we are not done with. This has to get signed into law. As my colleagues in the House and us stood together and took a pledge here just a few weeks ago, we will not leave for Christmas break until this relief is delivered to the American people. And as we talk about Christmas miracles, let us remember, it's not Christmas yet. And as Josh alluded to, I think there's one more Christmas miracle we hope to perform in the House and get these two bills into one. And with that, I just want to say, let us get it done. Not for us, but for the people that we represent and the people who need this as soon as possible.
And in the final segment, let's take a look at what Lisa Murkowski, who's the second most senior woman serving in the United States Senate after Susan Collins from Maine. And Lisa Murkowski, who's a Republican from Alaska, said this is a ready-made negotiated product for leadership. Yep, she said this is a ready-made negotiated product for leadership. She talked about some of her priorities and how she had worked closely with other members of this panel that put together this bill. And she said, to leadership, we've got your gift. Take it. Let's roll the tape and let me know what you think.
So this is not just paper. This is hope. That stack of paper, that compilation of ideas and concerns and the hopes and the fears of people all across the country, this is hope. This is hope for the individual who's wondering if they're going to be able to keep their apartment after the first of the year. This is hope for the food banks that I've been talking to just last week, who came together on a call to me to say unprecedented what we've been seeing around the state in terms of the need of individuals who are coming to the food banks, people who have never been to the food bank before except to be there as volunteers, and now they're there as consumers. This is hope for the small businesses that right now are struggling as we have all come indoors for the winter. There's no dining outside in Alaska or in Maine or in New Hampshire or in Utah. This is hope. This is hope for those who have been asking their Congress to be responsive to what they've seen in the face of this pandemic. This is not only hope from a policy perspective, but this is hope from a process perspective. Again, I think there are a lot of folks who wrote this group off very early on. We've seen gangs come and go. Maybe the secret was really in the sauce and it needed to happen over food. But our reality is that we have defied those who would say their disagreements would divide them. And while what we have presented is two different stacks, I think it's important that you're hearing and seeing that there is a unity in purpose here. Even after the great debates and the long hours and the multiple Zooms, we're still standing here together as Republicans and Democrats, House and Senate members. And we have two different packages, but I think that too represents a reality that when the difficult things come to you and you can't quite work them through, you don't give up. And to Josh and Tom, God bless you for saying, we're going to work to make these one. Because when we make these one, the country wins. And we've talked a lot about state and local, but that heading is state and local and tribal. And as someone who comes from a state where half the tribes in this country happen to be in Alaska, I can tell you this tribal assistance is pretty important. For those who have been most immediately impacted from a health disparity perspective, from the issue of just overall disparities, our native people, American Indians, Alaska Natives, are hurting and hurting bad. And so making sure that these come together as one is going to continue to be our priority. But in the meantime, what we've been able to do is to give to leadership, as they're moving through in these final days, a ready-made, negotiated product. You haven't seen anybody else step forward. We've got your gift. Take it.
That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. If you don't know anything about me, please check out my video. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. That's 2 p.m. So please make sure you click like, you subscribe, you enable notifications so you get instant updates about our videos. You'll also get notified whenever we do any live streams. So make sure you please click like, please click subscribe, please enable notifications. That's your vote of confidence in us, and that really helps out the YouTube algorithm. I would really appreciate that. Just gently tap that like button. Don't ignite it, and don't smash your screen. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that, because I want you to be able to watch our videos. But the name of our channel is Ignition Time. Now keep in mind, you can get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000, that's 70000, and you'll get added to our SMS alerts list moving forward. You can opt out of the SMSs at any point in time that you want. Now keep in mind, you can also get added to our email list. Simply go ahead and go to ignitiontime.com/alerts. That's ignitiontime.com/alerts. You can get added to our email list. When you're on our SMS list or our email list, there are two major advantages. One, you'll get breaking news and alerts from us about matters that are important to the country, matters that are important to the economy, and matters that are important to your money. So make sure you get added to our list. Also, you will get important information if we ever release any training programs on how to make money, save money, and invest money. And you can opt out of those SMS alerts or those email alerts at any point in time that you want. No worries about that. Keep in mind that YouTube does not always send out notifications on time. So make sure you simply bookmark youtube.com/ignition time, and then you can visit the home page of our channel and check out our videos at any point in time that you want. You're not dependent on alerts from YouTube, because sometimes they get delayed. You can also follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. You'll get exclusive news and content on Instagram. Also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is the exact same handle, ignition_time. On Twitter, you'll get breaking news and alerts from us on Twitter. So make sure you do that. I really appreciate you watching. Don't forget to comment below. Our community is growing rapidly. It's intelligent, it's respectful, it's bipartisan. You'll probably make some new friends in our community. So make sure you comment below. Also, please share this video with friends and family, because then hopefully we can grow our community with your help. I do need your help to grow our community. Thank you so much for watching. As always, you'll find a link to all of our resources in the description section below. So make sure you check out all of our resources. I really appreciate you watching. Again, don't forget to click like, click subscribe. Please enable notifications. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.